Due to illness, the roles of the nice guys on business today will be played by Pinky and the Brain. We apologize for the inconvenience.
The idea is to create images that will resonate with your followers, but are authentic to you. That's the key. So I create, like we were talking before about other images besides your face. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
You see, Danny, there's a force in the universe that makes things happen, and all you have to do is get in touch with it. Stop thinking, let things happen, and be the ball. Or be the nice guys on business. Either one is good. Need an education on how to grow your business? The nice guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, nice guy community listeners. Welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner.
Why'd you go to listeners already?
On the other side of the mic, Mr. Doug Sandler. Where should I go? Should I not go to listeners?
Well, previous lives, you would go to ladies and gentlemen, then you corrected yourself, and then we went to nice guy community.
No, you corrected me. Let's figure that one out. You corrected me from ladies and gentlemen because you didn't like ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it might not be appropriate, though. It's nice guy community is much more appropriate. As a matter of fact, I tell everybody that's a client of ours, you've got to name your community. You've got to give them a connection to you as quickly as you possibly can to win them over. I'm not saying
it's a marketing technique.
It's definitely a marketing technique, not a manipulation technique. It's definitely marketing. I think that people are proud to be a part of the nice guy community. Don't you?
Okay.
Much more so than just calling them ladies and gentlemen or listeners. I mean, who wants to be just a listener?
Nice guy community. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Right.
Thank you for clarifying, Doug. Now I know who my audience is. Yes.
Oh gosh.
Are we going to apologize for last week's shows?
Yeah.
We're going to wait till tomorrow to do that.
Well, I know we do a formal apology tomorrow, but can we just say we're sorry? We really did. Strick and I, we really didn't put in the full effort that we really should have. We thought we were at the time, but listening back,
not so much.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. We appreciate you coming back to make sure there is actually still some value that you're going to get out of our show. We promise a lot of it. We're gonna deliver this week. This is a delivery week. I feel this is good. I'm ready.
A deliverance week.
Oh gosh, no. Gosh, do you remember? Yeah, that's right. Burt Reynolds, Warren Beatty, Christopher Walken. Who else is in that movie?
That's more than I remember. That's
wow,
old damn movie. I don't remember.
Yeah, that's a great one.
It's a very disturbing movie.
It is a very disturbing. You know, as a matter of fact, I may have to watch that movie today.
Ooh, wow. Talking about like apologies. Okay, let's not get too deep into this because we do have an interview today. Okay. But the whole politics thing. This Roy Moore. Are you following this?
Tell me. Fill me in.
Senator Roy Moore. This is a guy. I'm sorry, not Senator. Judge Roy Moore is running for Senate. Yeah. And there have now been 9 women that have come out and basically said, "Hey, back in the day, like," when
and this was like underage women too, right?
Well, exactly. Back in the day when he was in his 30s, these women who were teenagers, like 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, basically they've all come out of the woodwork and said, look,
hold on. Wait. You say woodwork like they're pests.
No, gosh, no, my gosh.
Right.
I certainly don't want to come out like that.
I know that. Right. I'm just making sure that I just want you to hear it differently.
Right. Well, now that one person has spoken up, many others have now found the strength to come out and say it, which is that's how I totally mean it.
Yes, I know. I just want to make sure.
No, I appreciate you clarifying.
Yeah, sure.
I certainly don't want to give the impression that this is like that, pests, because there are a lot of people down in Alabama who do feel that way. It's unbelievable. Roy Moore is basically saying this is all lies. It's not true at all. Even though when the first woman came out, the first thing he said was, well, yeah, when I was in my 30s, I did date some teenage, women. That's, it wasn't a big deal.
Don't we find an issue there to begin with?
Right. He was the attorney general of Alabama at the time. So no, there's no worry of his influence from his position or anything like that. And now he's basically basically saying, no, this is all lies. This is all lies. But what's amazing to me, there's two things that's amazing to me. First of all, our president, Donald Trump, and for those of you who are outside of the country, we apologize. He basically, he doesn't say
this is a grand apology, not just for the episodes last week. We're apologizing for the entire political system now.
Right? The entire U.S. political system today. So Trump does not tweet out about Roy Moore at all. And he did say, apparently the official statement from the White House said, if these allegations are true, we think it would be best if he stepped aside and didn't go for this election in December. But no tweets, no like serious, like you're an asshole. Right? Now, Al Franken, who is a senator and a Democratic senator, right? It was found that in 2006, he was doing a USO tour and forcibly kissed a woman, Leanne Tweeden, and took a very inappropriate picture when she was sleeping, right? And Trump fucking 2 or 3 tweets about this. Al Franken is a horrible person and this is really bad and he should quit the Senate. Now, here's the difference. Al Franken has since come out and basically said, you know what? I did this. I'm sorry. It was inappropriate. It was wrong. And I was in a bad place. And you know what? I'm sorry. And I'm really ashamed that I did it. And I would welcome an investigation. If somebody feels that I need to be investigated over this, I feel and I hope that this was a one-off situation. And I am very embarrassed about it. And Roy Moore is all, it's not true. It's not true. It's amazing to me that he still has 42% of Alabama voters still say they're going to vote for him. And there's this whole group of women who are like, Roy Moore's a God-fearing man and he would never do this. These women are lying. Like, what do they have to gain from this? Right? Like, you know what? I don't want Roy Moore to get elected. So I'm going to come up with this lie that's going to completely embarrass me, make me very uncomfortable. But you know what? I'm just going to make this shit up. Like, there is nothing at all for them to gain by coming forward. There is so much for them to lose. And there's still people out there like, nah, they're all lying.
What do you think the end result is going to be? Do you think he's going to continue the process? Do you think he's going to withdraw? What's going to happen?
He has already said, I'm not leaving the race. Now, he's the candidate, right? So it's his choice to run or not. The Republicans have totally withdrawn their funding. Like the Republican National Convention has said, we're not giving you any more money to run. You can do whatever the hell you want. The real question is if he actually gets elected. That's the hard one, right? Because there's been discussion that, like, you know what, if he gets elected, the Republicans are going to kick him out and ask him to sit down. But, you know, it's the voters of Alabama. That's what kills me, right? Like, really, I think it would be terrible for them to elect him, but it's their choice. Great example, right? Who was the mayor of D.C.? What's his name? The crackhead. Marion Barry.
Right.
Marion Barry. Like, they caught him on video smoking crack and they put him in jail. And then what did he do?
With a prostitute,
right? He ran for mayor again when he got out of jail and they fucking reelected him. Yeah. Right? Like, it's the people of DC have spoken. I hope to God the people of Alabama speak up and basically don't elect him. But my God, if they do, what's our choice, right? This is a democracy. It's like we elect somebody and that's who we put in. They make their choice.
Yeah. Well, what happened? Crazy. You know, this was not as prevalent an issue back in the Clinton administration when Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, the whole scandal that happened. Would he have been kicked out of office, or was that? Wait a minute, hold on. Was that found out after he was? I can't recall. Was it?
Oh no, because that was right. He was in office already.
Yeah.
And there were impeachment hearings that said he should go out. And the impeachment hearings, again, I don't remember exactly politically what happened, but basically the impeachment hearings went through and then they decided to let it go and they dropped it and they decided not to impeach him. But very interesting. There's somebody who's in power, a politician or something, who is basically saying, hey, you know, Clinton should have been kicked out and we should re-prosecute this like fucking 20 years later. It's ridiculous. But what most people are saying is, you know what? It's a different situation. It's not a different situation.
Yeah.
We have a different attitude. We have a different awareness of it now.
We totally
right?
do.
And especially with, you know, the Harvey Weinstein thing. I mean, it's just kind of started and snowballed, and that it's a great thing that we're really much more aware of it. But it's just a different atmosphere than it was 20 years ago, that we are more sensitive to it. We are more aware of it, which is a great thing.
Yeah, I agree. So the connection is we are sorry for what happened last week on the show.
Sorry to get all political because we have an interview today. John DeMato is like Man, I love his images. The guy's a photographer. He's like corporate. He is a branding photographer. He wants to help you create your brand.
Do you remember? You remember when you were growing up, and I'm sure it was the same era that I was growing up. Do you remember in the parking lots at a lot of the big shopping centers, they used to have these little kiosks called Photomat?
Oh, sure, yeah. Where you get your film developed.
Yeah, you get your film developed. They don't even have any film anymore. Anyway,
Right.
he's all into the whole photography mindset, branding. Makes entrepreneurs into rock stars. But the only thing I kept thinking as I was talking to him was like, I remember having my little film canisters delivered to when I used to pull up to the Photomat kiosk. The woman that was in the little like booth, she would smoke cigarettes inside that little booth. It was like smoking cigarettes in a photo booth. I mean, in a telephone booth.
So you do an interview with John DeMato, who is making entrepreneurs into rock stars.
Yep.
Incredible, amazing, beautiful images.
Yep.
And what you get out of it is thinking about the girl 20 years ago that was smoking in the Photomat booth in the parking lot of the mall.
Well, I just wanted to know if you remembered the photo booths.
I remember them. Yeah. Just because we're both a bunch of old fucks, but okay.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Well, John does a really good job of dispelling the myth of the whole the Photomat bit.
Because that really is still a myth right now, I'm sure, right? Like everybody thinks about that.
Well, he actually you've looked at some of his images on his website, haven't you? Incredible.
They're
images.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, he's here to talk about branding, talk about putting somebody in the right light, making somebody that would be an entrepreneur into a rock star. He's got some really cool information up on his website as well. Anything we need to do before we get to the interview?
JohnDeMato.com is his website, and I don't think anybody is going to be thinking of Photomat after this interview now.
I agree with you. It was completely a wrong thought for me to be thinking, but it was something that I had a question. Anybody that comes on our show that is involved with photography, I always want to go back to my Photomat question. I need to know a lot about. It was a part of my life. It was a very there was a lot of understanding what new things in my life, and Photomat, it was just one of those things. I'm thinking, how long can this possibly last? It's a photo booth in the middle of a parking lot.
And apparently we've answered that question now, I think. Yes.
How long do you think Blockbuster is going to stay in business?
You know what's actually funny that you mentioned that? Maybe we should bring this up tomorrow because we're like way off on two side topics already.
Yeah.
I remember when Netflix came out, right? And Netflix was like, hey, we're going to fight Blockbuster basically because we're going to mail you DVDs, right? Mm-hmm. So that way you don't have to worry about taking them, and you can keep them as long as you want. I was like, brilliant, right? And then when it's like on demand and stuff like that, I'm thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Netflix? Dude, I mean, look at where they are now, right? Think about it. Netflix started out, their entire business plan was, we're going to mail you DVDs to watch movies at home.
Yep.
They've pivoted like crazy. I mean, it's amazing that they're as successful as they are because they have pivoted.
They still mail out like millions of discs every month.
You're kidding.
4.3 million DVD subscribers.
Really?
Yep. As of January of 2017,
crazy.
They still have a DVD rental service. It's easy to forget these iconic red envelopes that come bearing the DVDs and Blu-rays, considering Netflix, they're all on demand now. 4.3 million DVD subscribers, because there's some places that you can't get streaming video.
I guess it's true.
Yeah. So anyway, I know we got a little off topic here. Let's hit to John DeMato here on the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Cool interview. Let's do it with John. That's got to be like you look at it from an artistic perspective, and it's got to be totally cool. Like you get to be able to do what you want and how you do it, and you express your message through your images.
Well, the reality of it is that I'm creating my life by design, and I've built that life around photography, and my photography is not only my business, but it's also my art, and it's also my passion. So I'm kind of lucky in a sense that I give myself the space to do things that are artistic for artistic's sake. And then I have my business for, helping those who need my help. So it's all a win-win.
And as a guy, I come from the events industry. So I'm a guy that's spent 30 years going to parties and social events and high end shit, anything that you could possibly imagine out there in the world when it comes to celebration. The guys that I know and the women that I know that are in the photo world, they are probably very similar to you. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, 24/7, whether they have the camera in their hand at an event or the iPhone 7 or 10 or whatever the fuck it is now, whatever it is, they're always taking photos. And it's just so amazing. Even with an iPhone, the amazing photos, not just quality, but the angles and the way that they translate the world through the lens is incredible. And are you that way as well?
Of course. I live and breathe this stuff. Absolutely. I talk to people about it. I can talk about other people's photos. I pull out my phone all the time and shoot stuff on the street. It never ends, and it's a joy every step of the way. So, I love all of it.
So let me get you officially here so I can introduce you to the nice guy community and they'll know who hey, is Doug, are you having a friend come over to the house today? Are you guys both in pajamas? What are you doing? Because that's how everybody knows me. So nice guy community, as you're listening, just know that, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then John DeMato's pictures are probably worth 1,000,000 words, because that's truly how incredible that he is. We met through Twitter, and then I started doing a little, what would it be, stalking? And then I put my son to stalking, John also, because my son loves photography, and as a 21-year-old, he's just one of those guys that has a different eye to the world. So he's taken it like to the next step really, because he transforms entrepreneurs and thought leaders truly into rock stars. I mean, John has taken tens of thousands of pictures, each one telling their very own story. So he's going to share a little bit of a snapshot. You see how I did that? Snapshot of his, John, this does not come, this is very easy for me, these kind of words, very simple. So transforming life one shot at a time. So, welcome John DeMato to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm at home already.
Yeah. Oh, well, hold on a second. Let me just, let's make it official. Go fuck yourself. How's that feel now? Good? Does that make you feel at home?
Only if I could say go fuck yourself back, then that works.
Oh, wait, you live on your own then, huh?
Yes, I am a single man
living
the dream.
I was looking at John and I first connected when we just started this recording. We did it through video because John's a very visual guy, and he was looking at the backdrop behind me, and then I was looking at the backdrop behind him. I should have assumed that he was single, because there was a whole bunch of like plastic, not blow up dolls, I was going to say, but it was plastic plastic shoe boxes. What is that film in there? What's in there, John?
No, those were CDs. You know what those are? Those represent 10 years of photos that I've taken.
I can tell that you keep them in a very safe place in fireproof plastic.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
It's hard.
I've actually moved on from the shitty cases that you saw. Now I just do all backups onto hard drives. But yeah. I mean, humble beginnings.
It's totally. I get it. I was watching you, dude. You were on the Maury Povich show, and and Maury actually called you from the front. For you, I guess you were sitting in the front row. Was that like a surreal moment when he gave you credit right on the Maury Povich show for the amazing photography that you had done?
Well, a little bit more backstory on that.
Yeah.
I've worked for Maury. I've worked on the show for 9 years as a field producer.
I did not know that. Okay, so keep going now. I mean, is Springer next? I mean, what's up, man?
Let me tell you, after you do more, you really don't need to do anything else. It's crazy.
Is he still married to Connie Chung?
Yeah, she's a pisser too. I love her.
Well, I don't want to get into their personal life.
She's hilarious.
All right. So anyway, so keep going. So 9 years you spent as what were you doing for Maury?
Field producer position, basically, if you're familiar with the show, the field producer position is essentially the camera operator and the producer on the field shoots, before and after the stage stuff, the set. And basically we would sit and do here's Tanisha. This is what Tanisha had to say before the show. Take a look. And then that video that rolls in.
Yep.
There with a producer, and we put together these interviews, and then the stuff afterwards, like if it's an out of control teen show, after the show the teens were sent for some tough love prison and the funeral home, and we put their parents into a casket, and then we have them walk.
Jesus.
Needless to say, like I said before, I have seen some crazy wild shit in my day.
That's incredible. I think when Maury was down in, I went to college. I'm not allowed to say the year because Strickland, my co-host and the editor of the show, will just beep it out. For some reason, he doesn't want anybody to know my age. I have no idea why the fuck that's even important. You know, with all the other shit, everybody knows like all my bodily functions, but they're not allowed to know how old I am. Anyway, Maury Povich used to work at WTTG Channel 5 in Washington D.C. and I was doing my internship in 1902 or whatever it was. And he was actually there at the studio at the time. So what year, do you remember the years that you were working for him?
Yes, from 2005 to 2014. Occasionally I stop by and say hi every now and then when they need me. But
he's not still is he in New York? Where is he now? Do you know?
The show was shot in New York for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and now it's up in Stamford, Connecticut.
So share a little bit, as outside of the Povich show, share a little bit about your, like the journey. How did photography find you? How did you find it? Share a little bit.
Sure. Actually, the show has a lot to do with where I am today, for many reasons. But basically, I was, out of grad school, had a master's in production, and my first full-time gig was at the show. And over the years, I progressively just got, I don't know, there was something in me that was just basically telling me this is not it. This is not enough. This is not what I need.
Right.
The emotions, the hours, just everything.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of wore me down, and I had this interest in photography kind of in the background, and then one day we went to shoot a story with a professional photographer who took some photos of some teens that got some makeovers, and I talked to this guy, and I was just blown away by his camera, blown away by his demeanor, blown away by the product that he was producing behind the camera. And I was just, dude, can I keep in touch with you? I would love to, see what you think of my work. Cause at that time I was just, screwing around, shooting coworkers, just doing some portrait stuff, whatever, not really sure what the hell I was doing. And he looked at my stuff, was like, you've got something there, man. You just got to develop it. And then he eventually became my mentor. And, about 3 years after that, we kept in touch that whole time. One day I just went into work and, I quit.
Did you, so just help walk me through that meeting. Was that a Povich meeting or was that a meeting with one of his handlers?
Producers, executive producer, my supervisor. It was those people.
So I'm thinking Maury he knocked on your office door because obviously you had a huge office back then, and he probably said, "Hey, hold John, how about $500,000? Just stay." Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
It's a money thing, John, right? Let me give you some more money. I got plenty. Not from making the money on the show, but because Connie makes a lot of money. She did
make a lot of money.
She really did.
Oh my God. Yeah. And he does pretty well for himself too. But,
that didn't happen. So you left.
I did leave, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, quite frankly. I spent because at the end of the day, I never, ever, ever wanted to be an entrepreneur. Had no desire to do it, was scared by the thought of it. I was always looking for other TV jobs. Couldn't find another TV job. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to have to do this on my own. And then after just doing the same thing over and over again, I couldn't take it. So I ended up just following that headshot photographer, and he became a mentor for me. And I learned a lot more, developed the headshot end. And the next thing you know, I'm shooting headshots, I'm doing some portrait stuff, and I'm doing video, and I still wasn't happy. Fast forward 3 years into my solo endeavors, and I met a client who was someone who I had shot at an event, and she was promoting her book, and she had no social media, but her book publisher was like, you need to promote every day.
Right.
She's like, so, I love your work. What am I going to do? And I'm like, oh shit, this is a completely different animal from what I'm used to. She had very specific needs. And the next thing I know, the website that you currently see was born. The idea was born to work with thought leaders, to work with high level entrepreneurs, solopreneur folks that need visibility to promote their services, their business, and their products.
Well, what's so great about it is that normally people are looking at amazing photography from an artistic perspective, and what you've done, and I know that there's probably others that have done it as well, but the way that you're positioning yourself is you're turning these high profile or low profile but highly successful people into this person that they never thought that they could be through images, right?
Yeah. Essentially what I'm doing, who I'm targeting right now, the type of work that they're receiving from me is a combination of everything in my past. It's event photography, which I have done tons of event photography. By the way, I've done quite a few parties in my day as well. I've danced at a couple bat mitzvahs. I'm not going to lie to you. A couple quinceañeras thrown in there.
I will go toe to toe with you in the party world if you want to. I really have got to say I don't think I've ever said this on the show, but I have done, I think probably somewhere in the area of about 2,000 bar and bat mitzvahs as the MC. Right, exactly. So come on, man. What's up with you, chump?
No. Listen, if you want to talk about being involved in some really weird shit that involves some crazy situations, that I got you beat.
No, I can't
I'll give you the party scene, because I'll tell you what, man, that shit is draining beyond belief. Yeah. And that's actually important, because that was part of why I steered away from that. And that's, this was around that time, months and months before I met this client that helped me with the whole, with the book thing. So it was like, but I lived that life too. So I know all that stuff.
So I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because I think you might have a different spin on it. Are you an artist turned business guy, or are you a business guy turned artist?
Artist turned business guy all day, every day.
So that's such a hard thing to wrap your head around sometimes, because all of the things that are involved in growing a business, they had to be thrust upon you rather than you going and embracing them. It's almost like I wish I had a business guy that I could teach how to be a photographer, rather than I wish I had teaching an artist how to be a business guy. You've got to bend pretty hard to the right, I would say.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And
so how did you deal with it? I mean, we got a lot of people in our community that are, they have their specialty. It might not be photography, but it could be anything. It could be technical writing. It could be engineering. It could be a doctor. It could be an HVAC guy. I don't know what it is, but just making that what was the hardest thing for you to make that transition?
Oh man, everything. It's
yeah.
It's a challenge. Every day is a challenge, but, the key to kind of putting it all together is the first thing that you need to realize. First of all, you need to love what you do, almost unconditionally, because if you are going to put yourself through the ringer every day and develop a business and a brand and get yourself out there and start, getting that funnel going with clientele, you need to be passionate about it, because if you're not, this is going to be fucking miserable life you got.
Yes.
And you might as well go back in the matrix and work for someone else, because it's not worth it. That's step one. Step two is to realize that in no way, shape, or form will you figure this out all on your own. It is not impossible, but guess what? You're making your life so much harder, and all of the pain that you feel is going to go on and on and on until you finally figure it out. But when you develop like a tribe of people that you confide in, that you like to work with, that mentor you on all levels, people that are beneath you in terms of their progress, people that are far ahead of you with their progress, and you start to work with them. That's really the difference, because they're going to help you solve your pain a lot faster and move this train down the tracks a lot faster.
Yeah, man, that's totally right. So answer this just about photography. Has digital killed the photo business or brought it to life and revived it?
There'll always be a need for people like me, because at the end of the day, the people that I work with are high achieving folks, and they don't have time to figure shit out on their own. So you give them a phone They could care less about trying to take a selfie. I mean, listen, selfies are an important part of the image library that people put out there to promote themselves. But by and large, when we're talking the heavy lifting, the thought leadership piece, the stuff that they need to help cement those ideas and what they're putting out there and how they serve their people, you need the stuff that I do. And it's not something you could just pick up with a phone and hope for the best. Or like you have a cousin that has a fancy camera and, oh, let's go take some pictures. Yeah, having good quality is great, but it's really about capturing the sentiment of who you are, who you serve, and why you do it. And you're not just going to get that from a phone necessarily.
All right. So share with our community how photography really makes for creative marketing. Now you're talking specifically, and maybe you're not, help me out with it for a moment, but you're not talking specifically about just profile photos. You're talking about all sorts of marketing photos that you use, or just photos of people?
No, it is not just photos of, okay. So there is the profile piece. That's super important for all the professional profiles. There's also the website component. That's also very important. What I create for clients is a high volume image library for daily social posting, plus all of the promotional stuff. If they speak, if they have a book, or if they do a lot of conferences and shows and things of that nature, they need stuff for their printed materials. That stuff's all important. But the meat and potatoes of what I'm offering people is content for daily social use, and it does not just involve photos of themselves. I just got off the phone with a client right now, about an hour ago, and we were talking about books that inspire her, and different types of objects that directly relate to her business and her brand, because we don't just shoot the face. The face is important, and there's a very big need for that, but it's also the other stuff that revolves around what they do in order to paint the whole picture.
I'm gonna quote you here. I know you love this. I'm not asking you to fill in the blank or anything, but I want you to finish the thought here. So here comes the thought that you had. I think this is either off your website or something I was reading about you somewhere. Cut it out with the stock photos, will you? Cut it out with the stock photos, will you? So, that was, you know what it was? That was a blog post I think I remember reading that you had written, right? Or something like that?
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
Tell me what you mean, because I can't tell you how many times, and I'm guilty of this too. I go to Google, I grab an image, I go to Pixabay, I grab an image, and I'm using that as my clickbait or whatever it is that I need to get people to take action. My call to action involves a lot of times social media, and I'm putting it out in social media. I don't know what to put out there. And I hear that using a photo is much better than just using text, but help me with the thought. Cut it out with the stock photos, will you?
You use stock photos, huh? Well, yeah, this fucking conversation is over.
What am I going to do? I mean, I'm a fucking idiot. What do I know? I mean, I don't know what to use. What should I use? Tell me, fix me.
Listen, I don't know how much I can fix you, but at least I can try to fix your photo problem. Because right now it sounds like you need some help.
There's no doubt I need help. Are you you haven't listened to our show, have you? Everybody that listens to my show knows that I need help. That's why we have so many fucking listeners, is because they're like, what is the matter with him? They can't he's on 500 episodes. There's no way that there's that much of an idiocy that's going on. So fix me.
All right, here's what we can do. The thing about the stock photos that drives me nuts is, yes, they serve the purpose. They're a placeholder, but they're not truly revealing who you are and what you're about. Even if it's a photo of, say, like, you're a podcaster, like, even if it's a cool shot of your mic in your space, like that kind of, the idea is to create images that will resonate with your followers, but are authentic to you. That's the key. So I create, like we were talking before about other images besides your face. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's images that truly represent your business and your brand, where you're going with it. And it's about creating customizable stock photos. And they're stock in the sense that it's photos that are evergreen, that you can use more than once, but they are germane specifically to you. And it could be as simple as you shooting your own computer, or shooting that microphone that I was talking about, or
Right.
shooting the headphones, or whatever. I mean, I'd have to talk to you more about everything that you do, but the reality of it is that this is the conversation that needs to happen, and not, hey, can I go to Getty and go find a photo of that whole match? It's like, no, that's not going to work, because when you are your brand, everything matters.
Yeah.
Everything.
You know, the more you say, I'm looking around it, and there's actually some pretty cool things that I would say completely represent me. The book that my dad had written 20 some odd years ago is to my right. That would be a cool photo. My little Harley Davidson, Panama City, whatever you call this thing, what is it? Tervis? The Tervis cup? Yeah. My stapler, my bell, even my calculator, you know, photos that I have from wedding day, that stuff, it's all around my office. And you're right. And even that little, you noticed it when we first, started recording video, the license plate. Yeah.
Yep.
Like that shit. It's like, that's real. I don't know why I don't use that stuff. I should. It's just easier not to, I guess. Right?
No, the reason why you never did is because no one ever told you to do that.
Yeah.
And when you go to a photographer, by and large, they don't talk about that kind of stuff. They're worried about, you know, you. They're worried about your photos. They're worried about making you look good. But what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to, you know, branded lifestyle portrait photography, or just image content in general that relates to your brand, is that it is about authenticity. It is about sharing yourself. It is about not only shooting those things, but then relating it back, so that it'll resonate through the stories that you attach, because photos are not a means to an end. They are the punctuation to the stories that reveal who you are and who you serve.
I don't know if you remember, but you remember the film canisters? I used to keep my weed in there. I don't know if you remember those, the little plastic ones you remember them at all? No?
I do. I do remember
do they have those anymore? I mean, I haven't done that. I haven't used that in decades. I haven't smoked weed in a very long time. I just take naps now.
Have a good cry and then you take a nap.
I do. I have a good cry. I hug my dog and then I take a nap. Oh man. Where was I heading? Oh yeah. So let's make a little transition. I want to go over to some of the tools that you use from Ed. I mean, I want something so that my community can say, I want to be able to take this step with my photos. I want to take pics. What would you say would be a first thing to do if somebody wants to get some more, what is it? Not customized, but personalized, authentic photos of themselves. Just start shooting, or what are they shooting?
Well, the first thing that I would say is, now you're talking about for them to shoot, like customizable, like stock type things.
Yeah, what you're telling me, I completely get. I mean, I put probably 20 or 30 posts a day on between Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of that. Oh, by the way, JohnDeMato.com is John's website, and he's at DeMato Photo for Instagram. We will 100% make sure we put the link in the show notes for that, but don't forget to go there. You want to see some incredible images. He's got a whole bunch of free opt-in stuff on his website, but make sure you go to his Instagram page. Amazing. How many images do you fucking have up on Instagram, dude?
Oh God, I don't even know. Every day. I post shit every day.
I know.
Yeah. I spend like one day, every month, and I just post for every day. And by the time I'm done, I just want to just hide and take a nap.
What social media tool are you using?
Hootsuite.
Nice. Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. So there you go. Straight from a photographer who's doing images. You might not correlate Hootsuite with photographer, but this is what he uses. Apparently it's an easy fix to get your schedule all loaded up, right?
Yes. And actually, it's funny you mention that, because I'm going to be working with a new social media strategist who has this next level shit that when she shared the screen with me when we were talking about it, I just like, can you just like put the camera back on you? Because I don't know what the hell's going on. And
right.
She's like, don't worry about it.
We'll take care of this for you. See, I think they purposely do that to us. You know, it's like, I talk to social media people. We have Anna and Mara on our staff, our executive producer and our show producer. I think they purposely confuse me because they want to keep a job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like they want to scare the shit out of you. So you make them think like you become they're your enablers.
Yeah,
No,
totally.
I can't do this on my own. I can't figure this out.
So tell me what tools you use. Where do we start? So where do we start? Somebody wants to get some marketing, either their own stock photos or they just want to start taking photos. Is your advice just start shooting, or do you have like a strategic approach if somebody wants to be a DIYer just for this portion of the program?
I would say, if you are ambitious enough I actually wrote a blog about this actually, and one of the women that, follows me on Instagram she took the steps and she actually, took photos of herself in her, private practice. She's a clinician that works with, children. Basically, what I would say is if you're going to do it on your own, it's the first thing is to not pick up the camera and start shooting. No. Because then you're just going to be all over the place with no plan. What I would say is think about the stories that you want to tell to your people. And then what I would then say is, as far as props are concerned, look around your office. I mean, the quick and dirty way to do this, look around your office, look around your space, your house. Think of the objects and images that have resonance for you. And then I would then think about how you can tell a story about that particular object with which would then resonate with your followers. And then once you have a solid idea or two, don't just settle on one, by the way, because, if you're going to be posting every day, you need a lot of stuff. And a good way to get a lot of stuff is to really milk the shit out of what you have. And the way to milk it is to, again, think about those stories. And then once you have those stories, take a couple of shots of this thing. Go find some daylight, get by a window, and then just start practicing with the iPhone and getting some shots. If the stuff looks like crap, that's when you know that you're going to need a professional to come in and help you out. But up until then, I would say give it a shot. Just take some photos, make sure they're in focus, and then you attach the caption and see what happens.
And how about as far as any simple tricks for doing some either online editing or editing right from your desktop that would be easy for our community to follow?
I use my iPhone 7 a lot, the edit functions in the iPhone 7. I do not believe in those color washes and all that garbage that shit sucks.
Hey, get out of my phone. I like to use this. It creates a dramatic rainbow where one never existed beforehand.
Yeah. Or the beauty. Now listen, not all of that stuff sucks. I'm half kidding. But the reality of it is that a lot of that stuff muddies up the shots. Yeah, it looks cool, so to speak. But the reality is I would say just, you could play with the very simple settings that are in your iPhone, and edit it. And the good news about it is you can always revert it before you export it. So if it looks like crap to you and you went too far, you can always save it.
Go too far. Exactly. My son hates all the filters. He's like, you didn't put a filter on that, did you, Dad? I'm like, no, not me. Why? Just because my hair looks purple? No, that's my normal color.
Yeah, you're just expressing yourself through shitty filters.
That's right. I'm expressing myself through shitty filters. Exactly right. Hey, John, if our community wanted to get a hold of you directly to get more information about some of the stuff that you do or to God forbid, hire you to actually come on out so that you could take some, do you travel? Do you go anywhere or do people come to you? How do you work?
I am open to whatever. I've traveled for work. It's all contingent upon the person. If they want to fly me to where they are, I'm more than happy to jump on a plane and come see you and get some magical pictures.
Where are you? What part of the world are you?
I'm in New York City.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you doing some photos through that. I guess it was on the same sizzle reel that the Maury show was on. You were doing a couple of models photos, and you were yelling in a nice way. You were coaxing them on to be smiling, and you're doing it in this thick New York accent. You even brought the accent on even more when you were yelling at them.
No, that's all. Listen, if there's one thing that I don't do is put on the accent, because I don't have to. It's there when it's there, and if I'm drunk, then it really comes out.
Totally, man. Well, we'll make sure we put information in the show notes. Again, johndemato.com is to get to his opt-in page, his homepage, his landing page on his website, and @DeMato Photo is his Instagram handle. Again, we'll put the link in the show notes to all of that stuff. John, man, thank you so much for your message. Any final words of wisdom? Anything that we didn't talk about that you want to share? You're pretty easy, man.
Stay true to your dreams. How's that shit? You like that?
That was fucking Gary V all the way, man. And that was good. Yeah, you could stay true to your dreams unless your dreams are stupid and then you want to change it to another dream like John DeMato's dream. No, you can do whatever. You know, the beauty of it is just whatever you're doing, document it. And that way you'll have all the stock photos that you possibly need.
Absolutely. That's definitely wise advice right there.
Hey, John, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Fill up your week with the nice guys. Trust me, this is going to hurt me a lot less than it's going to hurt you.